Okay, I'd like to call the Board of Light and Power June board meeting to order. Yeah. Yeah. I'd like to call the Board of Light and Power June board meeting to order.
Congratulations.
Danielle, would you call the roll, please?
Director Crum,
Here.
Director Knopf,
Here.
Director Polyak,
Here.
Director Welling,
Here.
Chairperson Westbrook.
Here. Next item on the is the approval of tonight's meeting agenda.
Before we go there, I'd like to request that we move item 6B from the agenda.
Okay. Can I get a motion to amend the agenda to remove 6B?
Motion.
Motion second. Questions for Rob on the removal?
Yes, I'll give a little background. We've been working with the union to get our next contract in place. Negotiations have been going well. They actually had a vote yesterday, so I did leave it on the agenda in good faith, hoping that we would have the finalized contract, but didn't work out. So we'll go back and take another bite at the apple. So probably expect this to be brought in the July meeting for your approval.
Okay. Thank you, Rob. Any other questions? Danielle, would you call the roll, please?
Yes.
Knopf,
Yes.
Polyak,
Yes.
Welling,
Yes.
Westbrook.
Yes. And now we need a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Make the motion. Support.
Support, comments? Okay, Danielle, would you call the roll, please?
Crum,
Yes.
Knopf,
Yes.
Polyak,
Yes.
Welling,
Yes.
Westbrook.
Yes. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty, and justice for all.
This is the time to hear comments from our general public. We ask that each commenter provide their name and address and any affiliated organization that they may be representing for the record. We respectfully ask that comments be limited to 3 minutes each, and Austin will be our timekeeper. Comments from the public.
It's not hard by 3 minutes.
Yes, it is.
All right.
Yeah.
Good evening. My name is Jeffrey Miller. I live at 1120 South Harbor Drive. This is the 13th year in which I've attended at least one BLP board meeting. I have 3 items I'd like to talk about rather shortly. Hopefully that will be reflected in next month's minutes. One, I read with interest 2 weeks ago, the article about the about the community solar garden. I read it with great interest. Unfortunately, I missed Rob Shelley's subsequent interview on WAWL the next week, but I am interested in the marketing and sales strategy that the BLP has. What community outreach efforts will there be? What's the advertising budget to promote it? Who's in charge with sales? Chairman Westbrook would know that at Sharp, when a new product is produced and needs to be sold, it just doesn't sit on the shelf. There have to be resources to be put behind it to make it effective and worth the while of the organization. So I'd like to hear subsequently what the BLP's plans are. Second, the BLP is still dependent on the oversight of the city of Grand Haven on several matters. And the city council has accepted the community energy plan of Northwest Ottawa County that was developed in part by the city of Grand Haven's Sustainability and Energy Commission. In that report, it's stated, and everyone knows, that the state of Michigan has codified into statute requirements for utilities to move to carbon-free electricity generation by 2024. You may be later today talking about your strategic plan, of which unfortunately I did not have a chance to participate since I was not here at the time. But I hope that when the board considers the strategic plan, that they take into consideration the community energy plan of Northwest Ottawa County. And lastly, I would beg and urge again that when in the fall you consider when to convene, that you meet not during the dinner hour. Meet at 7 o'clock, meet at 7:30, so that people who are working people can come and attend and not have to debate whether they want to be at the meeting or have dinner with their family. Also, I would urge that the meetings be held at City Council building so that the broadcasts can be made, WAWL can broadcast the proceedings so that you, the board, and the people who are in attendance and give testimony can talk about the issues in greater detail and provide greater transparency, which I think is one of the hallmarks of committee member Crum's tenure. We need to get the word out. We need as much participation as possible and as much as inclusion. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jeff.
Good evening, Jim Hagan. I'm going to speak on the same topic I spoke on last meeting. That's on the potential for solar glare from the proposed community solar. So I'll just read it again. A demo run of the Forge Solar Glare Program for runway 927 has been completed. A snapshot of the summary is inserted below, and a more detailed file is attached. The 2-mile, 3-degree guide path glare analysis indicates 10,100 minutes of yellow glare for a pilot receptor. Yellow glare has a potential for afterimage and should be avoided. This result was generated based on a rectangular solar array at the west end of the property with panel tilt at 30-degree and 180-degree azimuth. Generic no glare panel was used. These results raise sufficient concern to indicate that a glare study using actual design parameters and solar panel data should be conducted by a qualified person for the 3GM facility. So I'm going to actually provide a paper copy because when I sent the things electronically, very seldom do I hear back from people. So here's the paper copy.
Thank you, Jim. Hey, can I get a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda?
Motion.
Motion second,
Second.
second by Director Poliak. Any comments or feedback?
I think I'd pull those up, and I think one interesting is the first KPI we have there is our reliability index, and you'll see I'm going to knock on wood that we've had the last 12 months have been a very good 12 months, and I'm kind of happy to report that we just had last week some of these thunderstorms that moved through the area, and I believe Wednesday night we had a total of 2 outages for a total of 18 people. We're out for a couple hours, and then Thursday night when the tornado sirens and everything were going off, we had literally 0 outages, only to be followed up by Saturday to get bit by a squirrel over by Home Depot and take 900 people out of service. So, I say that to give you an idea that just as easily as we are here today at a really low number, all it takes, because we do have generally very good reliability, and it just takes one little incident of a squirrel getting a little too curious and hungry to get across a switch and cause an outage. So. The rest of the KPIs are really in the normal range, but this one is, you kind of see this, we had a month fall off, it really dropped. And I thought it was a good time to, kind of give the guys we've been teasing the linemen, if you like having your sleep at night, think a tree trimmer, because I think proof's in the pudding that we had those big winds and things come through, and we've rode through pretty unscathed, and I'm going to once again knock on wood, because the minute you start feeling good about yourself, Mother Nature has a way of putting you in your place. So with that, I just wanted to point that one out.
Thank you, Rob. Any other questions for Rob? Hearing none, Danielle, would you call the roll, please?
Crum,
Yes.
Knoth,
Yes.
Poliak,
Yes.
Welling,
Yes.
Westbrook.
Yes.
Let's see, what's up next? Can I get a motion to approve the single purchase order totaling $40,000?
Make motion.
Second. Motion and second.
Yeah, this PO here is to Boilo Communications, so I think we're all familiar with that name. This is just the annual for the next 12 months, their assistance with community communications, bill inserts, all that type of stuff. So we draft and do majority of that work in-house. We usually utilize them for review and I'll say sanity checking, make sure it makes sense to someone that's not in the utility business because we're trying to give this to our customers and make sure that it's hitting the mark. So we use them as an outside check a lot of times, but that's all this is there's not a big project. There's not a big campaign associated with this. It is literally just our annual budget for communication assistance.
Any other questions for Rob? Hearing none, Danielle, would you call the roll, please?
Crum,
Yes.
Knopf,
Yes.
Polyak,
Yes.
Welling,
Yes.
Westbrook.
Yes.
Item 6B was removed. We're on to item 6C, approval of the fiscal year 2026 utility write-offs. I think you got a little.
Yep.
Presentation.
So in your packet, there's a memo there outlining what our write-offs are. So you see in 2025, we had $11,200 in write-offs. So when I say write-offs, this is bad debt, things that we're not going to be able to collect. So we do push this information onto a collection agency. In 2026, you can see we're at $11,800. So literally no change. Why is that of significance? I think this year is, remember, the PA 95 rules have changed. So we're able to do disconnects throughout the winter, but in exchange for that, we lowered our deposits. So to me, it's kind of a verification mark that we kind of hit the same mark of lowered the deposits the appropriate amount because our risk lowered as well. So kind of a no change status quo year for us. And if you think about that, we're talking about $11,000 out of $38 million. So very, 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 very low numbers. So kind of helps put that in perspective and really think about, we're talking about 87 customers out of 15,000 meters. Once again, very, very low percentage, not really an issue we have in the Board of Light and Power here, but every year we do have to go through this process of getting your approval to write this bad debt off and then send it off to collection agencies. So.
Can I get a motion to approve the fiscal year 2026 utility write-offs?
Make the motion. Second.
Motion and second. Any questions on the numbers?
I think it's just outstanding, like the amount that retail sales we have, and there's some people have a hard time paying their bills. That's understandable. And I think that shows that the company works with a lot of these, people are unfortunate and have going through some hard times. So
I said, that's a good time to give a plug that, there is this energy assistance fund out there that was part of this process too, through the Salvation Army. So anybody that's hearing this and having problems with your energy bills, and that includes heating, etc., reach out to either here. We can help you get in the right direction, but we're going to direct you to the Salvation Army, and they really are the right people because they can help you from not just the electrical standpoint, but maybe they need assistance with food or shelter or all these other things that they have connections for. So, the Salvation Army is a good partner for us and kind of consolidates that into a one-stop shop for our customers to be able to go get assistance. So good point, Todd, to kind of bring that back to everybody to remember. And this is available year round. So I know heating season's over. We're talking about, air conditioning season now, but this energy assistance fund is there all 12 months out of the year. So if you need assistance, reach out, get the help you need.
Any other questions? Danielle, would you call the roll, please?
Crum,
yes.
Knopf,
Yes.
Polyak,
Yes.
Welling,
Yes.
Westbrook.
Yes.
Item 6D, draft strategic plan.
Okay, for that, I think we'll kind of kick it off. Is Steve online? So,
Yes, I am.
You all know Steve Vandermeer was here last month to help us run through the process. So he's got a couple of slides that he was going to run through. Austin, you have those? To kind of kick off that, and then we'll come back and run through the draft, what was included in your packet. So with that, Steve, you take it away.
Great. Thank you, Rob. I just really want to comment mostly on the process. I think Rob and the staff, certainly will walk you through the meat and potatoes of the strategic plan, which of course, most, if not all of you, were involved with as we went through this process before. But from a process standpoint, I just want to point out that in the world of public power and public utilities, Grand Haven Board of Light and Power has a long history of planning and evaluation. And I know this personally as I have had the pleasure of working with BLP staff Really, I think starting in 1998 when I first met Phil Trumpfeller, but have had a chance to work with Annette Allen, Dave Walters, Rob and his staff, and have been very impressed with the amount of planning and evaluation and the care they've taken in the running of the utility. And I think that shows up in the reliability reports. The write-offs that you just went through is another good example. Folks are really paying attention, and the board is I think been providing excellent insight and guidance in that space too. This is not BLP's first strategic plan that you're looking at, and you have a good history of strategic planning, with your most recent one being in 2021. Sometimes doing a refresh of an existing strategic plan can be more challenging than starting from scratch, because you're looking at existing language and existing ideas and priorities that, for the most part, feel pretty good. They seem more or less on target. But as we all know, that the one that was done in 2021 had a different leadership, both on the board and at the general manager position. And so the refresh is a great opportunity for new board and new staff to make sure that the strategic focus remains on those priorities that you as a board believe will be most important to the community as you move forward. It's been an interesting time in my 35 years in public power, because when I first came into the industry in the 90s, it was a very static industry that changed very little. Maybe a little bit pushed this way and that by improvements in technology. But as all of you are aware, the BLP that you saw 10 years ago looks very different from the one that we saw today, and will no doubt look different from the one 10 years from now. So from a process standpoint, I think these kind of conversations are really important. It's interesting when you compare the two strategic plans from 5 years ago and now. Not a lot of differences, but there is some nuance there, and I think reflects the additional thought and intentional conversation that the board and staff went through to ensure that it continues to try and reflect your customers' needs and your community's needs. So I certainly enjoyed the opportunity to work with you all. I appreciated your determination to work so hard on positioning the utility for success, positioning the community for success. And I'm sure you will move in that direction with the excellent board and staff that you have in place today. I'm certainly here to answer any questions about process, but in terms of the materials themselves, I think Rob and his staff are much better suited to lay those out for you.
Steve?
So from there, I think everybody had a chance to review the strategic plan I put in there. And today the idea is this is draft. I'll say it won't say your last chance, because our plan is whatever discussions we have to do here tonight, we'll take those back and we'll bring them back to you next month for final approval. Also, don't get hung up on format or pictures or maybe layout. This was Eric's team has kind of started on the communication and try to put this together in a usable format. Because if you really think about it, this is going to be a document, of course, we're going to use, but also is going to be a document that our customers should be able to pick up and follow and read as well. So we have to go through that formatting process. So if you have some suggestions, we're happy to take them, but don't get hung up on that. It's more about the content today, and we'll quote unquote pretty it up over the next month and bring it to you next month for final approval. So with that, we did change the format a little bit from last time. So we start out with a message from the general manager. And here, the idea here for me is trying to set the stage of, where we've been. And I think we did the same kind of presentation at the board and council meeting. We kind of talked about history, where we're at today, and then where we want to go in the future. And I think that's really important when you talk about a strategic plan for an organization like this that has 130 years of history. So you can, I don't think we need to read through that message from the general manager. It was in your packet. If you have any, I guess I'll stop here. Any questions, comments, concerns about anything in there?
Nope, thought it was well written myself.
The next page is really where I think the strategic plan really starts kicking off. I look at this, the purpose of this, as explaining to someone how they're supposed to use this. This is the how-to of the document. So really, I'll read a couple of things out of here. That the purpose behind our strategic plan is to set the foundation of the BLP. And we talk about these different tiers of this pyramid that we're building, right? And obviously, our mission statement and our core values are the bedrock or the bottom of that pyramid. These are non-negotiables. This is how we act, this is how we conduct ourselves, et cetera. Then you look at the next level I talk about is the strategic priorities. So we have 5 strategic priorities, and those are the areas that we really are zoning in on, and they're wide areas, right? When you talk about financial management or human resources, that's a wide area, but those are the areas that at a high level we should be focusing on. You know, keep in mind as through the process and the discussions we had, we always remember the ins and means. This is an ins document, not a means document. So we need to keep that in mind. And then of course the next one, and truthfully, we talked about this a lot in our meeting with Steve, is what do we call that top one? Do we call it goals? We ended up with expectations. The old one, you'll see we had goals set in there. And we thought that really doesn't hit the mark because this isn't an action plan. This is a strategic plan. So if you set goals, we all know a goal needs to be what everybody says, a SMART goal: strategic, measurable, timelines, realistic, et cetera, right? Actionable. Well, that gets more into the means, not the ends. So if we kind of keep that in mind, but the idea is if we're doing and keeping an eye on all these things that are in the area of focus or that are objective for that area, this is what it should look like, or this is the expectation we should have. I think it'll make sense as we go through. So once again, I think the thing I also point out here in the last sentence is this is a living document. There's no way any of us can write a 5-year crystal ball and think we're going to be accurate. This is our plan today. We need to look at this. We need to consult it. We will probably have to revise it. We did our last one. As things change, as things develop, if we just make a plan and just march blindly, we're going to miss opportunities. We're going to get blindsided by something. So keep that in mind as we're setting the best goals we can, or not goals, the best direction we can today, knowing what we know today to get the outcomes we want 5 years from now. But as we know, we're charting a course, but there will be course corrections. With that on the next page, I think we spent a lot of time on this with you guys last time, but I think it's worthwhile to read through some of these for the public as well, is our mission statement. So we did tweak it a little bit from our last strategic plan, and went through it again as staff with Steve and tried to really wordsmith this in. And keep in mind, we struggled with this as staff, is you can't say everything to everybody in a sentence without making it this, and you're still going to miss something. So when you look at that kind of goes back to those paragraphs we were at before, is how does this thing layer in, right? We talk about the foundation, then we'll move our way up to more other things. But our mission statement is the BLP mission is to provide reliable electric service that returns value to our customers while ensuring the economic and environmental sustainability of the utility. So we wordsmith that right there. I'm going to pause right there and ask any questions, comments, issues with the mission statement.
I think in our working meeting, we kind of talked through this and it shook out in the way I thought it would. So that's.
I think that's where we're going to go today. I'm expecting probably a lot of head nods, so don't feel like but this is your chance to go through the draft. I mean, we've put it together. We did tweak a few little things, verbiage here and there. So there are little tweaks, but we want to make sure that everybody's still on the same page before we go further. So then we have 5 core values. So I think we spent time on that as well. I'm going to go through them each as well, and get down into the weeds a little bit there. But number 1 is work cooperatively as a team. So what does that mean? How does that look? We want to prioritize wellness, education, and training. We want to treat our team members fairly, equitably, and with mutual respect. We want to value the contributions of everyone on the team. Once again, I talked about core values, and to me, as I say it, is these are my deal breakers. This is what you will do. These are non-negotiables when we talk about how we're going to act as an organization. So keep that in mind. This is what is, we'll actually see this if you walk around our offices here. You'll actually see we have some of our core values and mission statements posted up places. So this is the sheet you're probably going to see around our office if you come back once we finalize it up, so that people know what is it. These are what is expected. These are non-negotiables. Next one, continuously improve our performance. Maintain modern and reliable infrastructure. Consider the environmental impacts of what we do. Implement best and sustainable practices. Utilize technology effectively. Next one, serve with integrity. Be accountable for our actions. Serve openly and honestly. Treat all in our communities fairly, equitably, and respectfully. Next one, provide value to the community. That means we want to improve the communities we serve. We want to continue to remain a trusted local energy partner, and we want to engage and understand our customers. The one we did add this go round was prioritize safety. So we want to promote and sustain a culture of safety, maintain a safe and secure workplace, take proactive actions to safeguard our communities. So that's a newer one. We talked about it but you didn't get to see it in black and white. So that prioritize safety is one we added. So once again, I'll pause here, look for any feedback.
Okay.
Okay.
No, we're not stuck on format, but for prioritizing safety, it should be at the top of the pile or center of the chart, or something visually. So
I laugh because of my engineering mind, I look at it and it's we have 5 of them, so they're not all equal. What are we gonna do? My little OCD breaks out. So yeah, don't worry, we have work to do. And so how do we lay that out?
Right.
I'm gonna let our graphic
I know you
designer.
told us to keep our graphic designer handle it, but
So that's
just
good.
a comment.
If you do have comments, we will take them, right? I mean, this is just as much your document as it is staff. So, in fact, it's more your document than it is staff. But those are the things I just joke about that too. I mean, my OCD looks at it, what? I got 2 bigs and 3 smalls. That doesn't work.
looks very good. Thank you.
Yep. The next one up, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on the SWOT analysis, but I think this is really, we went through these, I think, as a group last time. Hopefully you had a chance to reread through them, but really it's a chance to look at, what do we see as, strengths and weaknesses. That's looking internally. Opportunities and threats are looking externally. So what do we see as BLP strengths? What do we see as weaknesses? What do we see as opportunities and threats? Sometimes you'll see, actually, we have some of them in here that go in both categories, right? Can I turn this threat into an opportunity or vice versa? If we don't handle this opportunity correctly, it can be a threat to us. So, like I said, don't want to go through this one by one. There's a lot of reading here. That's why we gave it to you a couple days in advance. With that, I'll stop and say any questions, comments, concerns on the SWOT analysis.
A lot of these we covered in the working meeting. It looks like you shored them up to the list. We you did a nice job on shoring up, the final list, in my opinion. A lot of threats.
Okay.
Okay.
That's okay. Like I said, one of the threats is also listed as an opportunity. I mean, the changes in the landscape that is allowing us to do things that we may have never done. To Steve's point, for 100 years, the electric industry looked pretty stale. So you just keep doing what you're doing, right? Everything's great. Everything's wonderful. That's not the case anymore. It's never going to be business as usual. And to his point, what we recognize today, 5 years from now, may be different. And I guess what? I guarantee some markets still going to be the same.
Well, it's nice to see our weaknesses pile as the smallest pile, but so, just pointing that out, but it's looking, it looks good. Looks good.
So on to the next page. So here is our strategic priorities. And once again, they're in no particular order other than you got to put one first and start over. So the first one is financial management, customer and community engagement, power supply, T&D, and human resources. So as we've talked all along, these are the 5 big buckets we think really are areas of, I won't say areas of priority because I'm stealing the wrong verbiage from later on, but these are the 5 big buckets when you think of the utility business we need to be focusing on. If we can hit these buckets, we'll be good. So we'll go through each one of these. Again, financial management, the objective, once again, I think we went through that in in our work group, but I'll read it out loud, is the BLP will operate in a manner that manages financial resources to provide rate stability, customer value, and appropriately address risks. So our areas of focus. Now, when I talk about area of focus, what do we mean by that? Is the area of focus are things that board and staff, if we're looking at these, you're not getting in the weeds. These are the things that you need to be looking at, we need to be looking at to make sure that we are meeting our strategic objective. So financial policies and internal controls, cash flow management, liability management, rates, financial monitoring and reporting, budgeting, and capital planning. So if we're keeping our eye on those focus, that I talked about the expectations. So if we're doing those things right, what would you expect as outcomes from that? You expect us to provide annual budgets and 5-year capital plan for approvals. You're going to expect us to maintain competitive and stable rates. And you're going to expect to remain in compliance with annual audits and financial policies. That, any questions on financial management? Okay. Customer and community engagement. The BLP will engage its customers and community to build trust and invite meaningful public feedback on values and expectations. One we wordsmith quite a bit with you guys, I think at the last one is what's our objective there. And then, our areas of focus, market research and data analytics. So not only do the research, but do something with it. Customer service tools and technology, customer satisfaction, community education and outreach, and direct customer interactions. So if we're doing all those things properly, what are you going to expect to see? You're going to see that we solicit customer feedback to gauge customer satisfaction and understand the interests and expectations. Provide clear and accurate information that promotes understanding and supports the organization's goals and reputation. Engage in two-way communication that builds relationships with our stakeholders. Power supply. The BLP will maintain a diversified power supply portfolio that balances economics, risk management, and sustainability. Areas of focus are going to be wholesale market transactions, portfolio diversification, energy risk management, resource adequacy, grid resiliency, regulatory compliance. So to do all that, we're going to maintain a sustainable, economical, geez, oh, Pete's Rob, economical, I can't say it, and diversified power supply portfolio by evaluating potential projects, renewables, emerging technologies, and long-term purchase power alternatives. So what does that mean? All the above. Address reliability, capacity, and energy needs by evaluating local generation options. Utilize a 5-year forward-facing energy and capacity plan to remain in compliance with energy risk management policies and regulatory mandates. So once again, long-term planning, thinking ahead, and all of the above approach. E&D. The BLP will operate and maintain a reliable modern system that supports the community's future growth. Areas of focus are distribution system hardening, long-term system planning, system operations, and system reliability. So effectively and continuously plan for long-term system enhancements and growth. Maintain strong electric reliability through proactive maintenance, system improvements, and timely outage response. Follow best practice to ensure safe and secure infrastructure and systems.
Rob, I got a question on cybersecurity because, we changed the layout on the strategic. I think we had 6 strategic action items or focus areas last time. Now we have 5, and there was that one area of business operations I think we folded in. Cybersecurity, I attended that workshop and it was, top of mind for me. Is it worded strong enough in here? I just, I'm thinking if we looked at it's identified as a pretty big threat to us. Should it be worded a little stronger? I mean, it seems to be a bigger area of focus than we're giving it in the
So I
The
think
plan.
what we did in the plan, you'll see both in T&D and in human resources. We talk about security in there, safe and secure. So we want to do it not only safely, but security is right there. And so that, in my mind, and we talked about this at a staff level, is that means if you're looking at human resources, that's kind of the IT side of security. T&D side is the OT side of cybersecurity. So we need to make sure that we are not only making sure our infrastructure is secure, that also means customer data is secure,
Yeah.
right? That's what we're talking about, our secure infrastructure and systems. We want to make sure we have a safe and secure workplace. So we're looking at it from both we're looking at that word secure as bringing that to top of
Just some feedback for you. It felt
Yeah.
like it was kind of in the margins to me, and it's a pretty big threat. You know, it's something we, I don't know, just something that jumped off the
Feedback.
page at me. It didn't feel like there was enough focus in the plan in that area. So I don't know if there's a way we could wordsmith that or consider.
I think that would go in some place where we maybe put that in one of the areas of focus.
Agree.
We could talk about something there. So we'll take that back to the drawing board. I guess I'm seeing other people nodding, seeing that same kind of thought process, and we'll probably put that. My guess it will probably roll under probably the human resources area. We'll maybe add a place where we talk about.
Is that the right place for it, or is it T&D, or is it both? I mean,
Well, to me,
because it was kind of its own business function area before, and it feels like it's a little.
oh, it's business. It was basically technologies, business practices, and technologies. And to me, if you think through a lot of our training we've done, when you guys get your know before training, right? What do they always say? What's the number one asset we have? Our people. So I can put any system in place, but if we don't do the right thing with our people and training there, it falls completely apart. So I think that security falls into that standpoint. I can put an alarm system in, but if no one shows up to do anything about it, what good is it? Right? You guys know we all have 24/7 monitoring and security cameras on all of our infrastructure in the back. Does it do me any good if the guy's sitting there taking a nap? No, it doesn't. So to me, it belongs with that human aspect of it, getting that security portion in there. That's where I would, at least that's my vote, where I would put it.
Okay.
Else.
Anything else?
Okay, so move on to human resources. BLP will attract, develop, and retain a qualified, effective, and professional team. Areas of focus: maintaining competitive compensation and benefits, workforce planning and development, safety and wellness programs, hiring and retention practice, workplace culture. Expectations are maintain a workplace culture that promotes employee satisfaction and teamwork, be considered an employer of choice within the region and industry, follow best practices to ensure a safe and secure workplace. So that's something under areas of focus that would talk about security.
IT, OT, I mean, all that.
Yeah. I think it will probably be more, I would like to see it as more generic than IT, OT. I think it's more about security. And that's infrastructure security, that's building security, safety for our people. I'm usually more on the security side of safety that, we're doing all that. So I think that's where I would vote to put something along that in the areas of focus there.
Excuse me.
So with that is the strategic plan at a high level. From that, what we'd expect to do is obviously we talk about this and we would use this document then to move into setting individual and company-wide goals from that. So that's where that would be a separate document where we talk about this is the ends. Now we're going to go in a means document. That'd be more of an internal document of how are we going to do that? How do we report that back to you? So going forward, I envision, like we used to do for our last plan, is every quarter, let's plan on having an update from one of these areas where we'll dive in and say, hey, here's what we've done. Here's how we're meeting those goals and meeting those expectations. Give you an update on it. from that standpoint. Because I think if you try to do a quarterly update across the whole strategic plan, it gets one, watered down because you run through it very quickly. And two is, what changed in power supply in the last quarter? Well, we're giving you the monthly reports, but I think if you go about roughly annually, you'll kind of see, hey, this is what we did over the last year, and here's the milestones we did, here's the check boxes we've done. I think if you try to do all of that every quarter, it's going to give a very stale update for you guys.
Yeah, that sounds good.
That's kind of how I envision taking this document, moving it forward, and then coming back with those priorities for you guys to review and make sure we're all hitting the marks.
And the goal setting will happen then after the strategic plan's finalized, that you guys do, it's part of your performance review process, and it's all.
Yeah, and actually we're, for the guys that haven't worked here, our annual year starts July 1st. So I think we've all done our performance evaluations, and a lot of the goals that are set are assuming we're in alignment here from the work sessions, that a lot of our goals are in there, are reflected, and they need to directly tie back to our strategic plan. So especially at a senior staff level, right? Anything we're working on is going to be tied back to, if you take power supply, we have, in Eric's review, we have things about community solar. We have things about the new property. We have all sorts of things that you can tie back to here and evaluate things. So that's how we'll use that. And then, like I said, that'll be on the staff side of the equation.
Final thoughts for Rob? Nice job.
I liked it.
Looks
Yep.
very good.
I'll let Kennedy work her magic and make it pretty.
Polish it right up, huh?
That's right. Delegation for success.
So the thought process is we get a final review in July and final approval, right? That's the next step, would be the final
Yeah,
release.
I wouldn't expect to spend a lot of time on it in July. It will be in the board packet for your review. Obviously, I would ask if you get the board packet and there's something glaringly wrong, let us know, because we'll want to maybe tweak that, bring an update to the meeting, because our goal is to try to get it across finish line next month. But you'll have the final version hopefully in your inbox a month from now.
Thank you.
Steve, any final comments, questions?
No, I just appreciate the opportunity to look over your shoulder while you went through this process. I was really impressed with your strong efforts at trying to gather stakeholder engagement and make this a real data-driven process. And I really enjoyed the process, and obviously I'm happy to assist in anything I can help with as you guys move forward.
Thank you again, Steve. Appreciate your help.
Yep, certainly.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is 7A, General Manager's Salary Evaluation. Could I get a motion to approve the General Manager's Performance Evaluation with a score of exceeds expectations
Make the motion.
I'll second.
and a salary increase of 3% effective July 1st, 2026? A second.
Sorry, Jonathan.
That's okay. Feedback, comments?
Keep up the great work.
Yeah, thanks for all you do,
Thank you.
Rob. Much appreciated.
Thank you.
Hey, Danielle, would you call the roll, please?
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Kolyak,
Yes.
Welling,
Yes.
Westbrook.
Yes.
Other business.
Stay tuned. As you know, we were planning on a 130th anniversary celebration. We have some stuff going to City Council for approval the 6th of July. So once we have those plans finalized, we'll make sure we get that information out to you all to save the date. We're looking at sometime in September, but we'll get all those details to you. So as soon as that's approved, so that's kind of the next nicety thing we've got coming down the line. So.
The solar panel update, I thought we were going to do a
Yeah,
quick update on the,
I think we're getting close to double digits. Eric, what are we at?
9.
9. So we've sold 9 subscriptions. So I guess I'll just give a quick update on the whole thing. So it's out for people to subscribe.
Yeah.
It's $570 for a share. There's 1,000 shares of the project. So that means we need to sell 333 shares to get it across that 1/3 mark we set aside. The one share is equal to 300 watts. You can expect it to produce around 400 kilowatt hours a year, about a $25 a year credit on your bill. So, I've heard a lot of people. I went to the Sustainability Energy Committee asking them. I think they're going to go out and maybe pound the pavement a little bit, hand out some flyers and things like that, word of mouth to try to drum up some business. I've heard a little bit from some of our CNI customers in town asking some questions. So we have until December 15th to meet our goal. If we meet it before then, we can start moving faster than that. Obviously, we're parallel pathing approval processes, right? So we still got to go to the Planning Commission, and we're waiting to get final word from the FAA. And so we've submitted them. We actually had to resubmit some things recently, so we're through that iterative process. I'm sure the mayor's in the audience here. I will be probably talking with Ashley about a letter of support from the airport sponsor for the project, because that's something the FAA is probably going to want to see. So we've got a lot of little things to do to get
Wetlands.
the wetlands. We've done the wetland delineation, so the design we have does fit within with what we were talking about. But also we got to cross T and dot the I's, right? I got to take that back to the Planning Commission and take the sensitive overlay off and work with all that kind of stuff. So there's work to be done. I don't want anybody to panic, think it's not going to happen. I don't mean it that way, but we are parallel pathing. So as soon as we hit 1/3, get our permits, et cetera, we will break ground. So we're working down the path. So if anybody's interested, please feel free to reach out. If someone is trying to reach a certain goal, meaning, one customer talked to us about, hey, how do I get to X percentage? Feel free to reach out to customer service and they'll put Eric to work to help you calculate some of that stuff to make sure you're not oversubscribing or undersubscribing to get what you need. But it really is, it's open. If you're interested, I think it's probably going to be the easiest, cheapest way most people are going to be able to afford solar in this town. So one of the things we talked about at the Sustainability Industry Committee was balcony solar. And Jim gave a lot of information on that. You know, they're limited at 1,200 watts, so that would be 4 shares, but they're $2,000 to $3,000 to buy them. Well, it's about the same money, and you don't have to do anything other than write the check and we go install them. So, you know, it's a nice way of being able to take that advantage of something that maybe you couldn't do yourself, or maybe you don't want the headache to do yourself. So I encourage anybody that's interested to reach out. There's a thing on our website to get more information. There will be a bill stuffer coming out. Obviously, I was newspaper articles. We're bill stuffing. We're been on the
Yeah.
radio. We're putting things out on social media. We're doing all those things to try to get that information out to anybody and everybody. So
And the Sustainability Committee's also helping.
they seem very supportive of it. So
I think they're selling it in the community to encourage people to,
I think there's a lot of support there.
yeah, great. Thank you, Rob. Any questions for Rob on the community solar? Okay. This is the second part of the evening where we'll entertain comments from the general public. We ask that each commenter keep provide their name and address and any affiliated organization that may be representing for the record. Please keep comments to 3 minutes. Austin will be our timekeeper. Any comments from the public?
Get set, go. Jeffrey Miller, 1120 South Harbor Drive in Grand Haven. Just 4 thoughts with regard to the strategic plan. Having been a president of a not-for-profit board, having participated in other national boards, I think it would be effective if Mike Westbrook's name was also on the signature page with from Rob Shelley. I think it shows that the board is participating. It's not just the employees, it's from the board who were duly elected. So I think perhaps if Mike can tweak it a little or add a sentence here or there, I think Mike's signature on the cover page would be beneficial. With regard to the document itself, I also think Rob made a good point in that it's a living document. And so in the document, you might put in a sentence about it being a living document so that people won't come back 2 years later and say, well, you said this was going to be happening. And you can easily say, no, this is a living document, just like, our Constitution. It grows, it changes, given the circumstances. So I would mention that the document, this strategic plan is, it will take corrective action on occasion. With regard to the 5 values, and this is just brainstorming, spitballing, but I thought the Pentagon idea, since all 5 sides are equal, you can address sort of that issue there. And then the last one was with regard to threats and opportunities. On, I think it was the second page, there was an item there that talked about public interest and activism pulling the BLP in a different direction, and that was considered a threat. I understand the statement, but I actually would consider that a benefit or an asset, showing how the BLP is reflective and understands when the community speaks up. You guys aren't a monolith, but are flexible and can go the way of the community. So where was so that was under threats in the SWOT analysis. And I think it actually would be, the wording is fine, but maybe just in the opportunities column. My thoughts on that. Other than that, thanks again. Appreciate being here.
Thank you, Jeff. Any other comments? Hearing none, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Okay.
Motion second, all in favor, say aye. Aye, opposed? Meeting adjourned.